right, number 16. If you're working a job, you need to identify all the ways in which you could do your job better. A lot of people work their jobs and they don't try very hard. We've discussed this already about how lazy employees are. If you're an employee right now, you're probably lazy. So, you're working a job, you're not trying your best. Make a list of all the ways you could improve how you do your job. You could work faster, you can make more phone calls, you could care more about X, Y, Z. You could do the entire 9 hours without super long bathroom breaks where you disappear to sit on your phone, whatever. Make a list of all the ways you could improve the way you do your job. Then ask yourself why you don't do it. Why don't you work at 100% of your capacity? And the main reason is probably going to be because you're not incentivized to do so. I don't know about your job. Obviously, this is the Hustlers University. We're going to teach you how to make money outside of your job. But if you're in a job right now, and the fastest way you can do to get a pay rise or increase your money is literally to sit there and think, I need X, Y, Z to be incentivized to do this job properly. I think you'll be surprised how often you can go into your managing director or your, especially for smaller companies, your boss's office and say, look, here's the deal. I want to do X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. I think it's going to make us a lot of money. I just want to say, if I'm right and it pulls off, let me prove myself first. Let me make the money first. But if the money starts rolling in, that's when I'm going to be rewarded for it. They'll say, oh, okay. They'll call your bluff because you promised them money. When you go in there and you say that, all you've done is say, look, I want to make you some money. You say that to them, let the money start coming in, and they'll often reward you for it. If you're not doing your job to the best of your ability, then you need to be doing something else. And if you're not doing the job to the best of your ability, you need to be using that time to start something on the side. So my work history, as you can tell, is very varied. For a long period of time, I worked, when I say long, about a year, I worked for a company called N2. N2 sold web advertising. It sold advertising, websites, SEO, Google AdWords, all that kind of thing. So we would call up companies and convince them they need a new website, or they need SEO, or Google AdWords, or hosting, blah, blah, blah. It was like an online advertising agency. This is a few years ago. At the same time I was working there, this is the company when I read Wikipedia three days a week. At the same time I was working there, I was pissed off that I wasn't a business owner anymore. I kept remembering T2 and all the mistakes I made at T2, and I wanted to start a television advertising agency again, but I couldn't afford to quit this job, and I also knew that it was going to be very, very hard to sell television advertising like I did a few years before, because this was, when I was selling it before, was just before the big credit crunch. Remember that? Now we're in the height of the credit crunch, so it's going to be very difficult to get money out of people. So I decided to start a company anyway. I started a television advertising company called Vixels. I looked at the word pixels, I changed a P to a V. Doesn't make any sense. Vixels television advertising. And what I would do is, my brother would pitch television from home, and I would still work my normal job, and in between not doing any work on my normal job, I'd provide leads and fulfill leads, etc., etc. So not only am I working a normal job, I had another company on the side at the same time. And what was good about this is if I went to a company to give them a website and it was a particularly big company and a company I think could afford TV, then I'd pitch them for Vixels on the side, or tell Tristan to call them and pitch them. So simultaneously as doing my job, I was running another company. Now Vixels never really took off. I landed 3 or 4 deals. I maybe did 200-300 grand, which isn't a lot of money to me now, but 200 or 300 grand is a lot of money to most people in a year of a company. So instead of just sitting at my job doing absolutely nothing, I was doing a lot of nothing. I was reading Wikipedia, but I was also doing as much as I could for my own company on the side. So if you have a job right now, don't quit your job. People say to me all the time, "Oh, I need to quit my job." No, you don't. You don't need to quit your job. I guarantee there's enough time in the day for you to work your job and work your side hustle. Guaranteed, because you're lazy and you don't do shit at your job anyway. You have all the time you need to continue with your job, get your side hustle rolling. When your hustle's rolling and you know the money's coming in, then quit. You don't need to quit your job at the same time. So people say it to me all the time, well, should I quit my job? And the answer is often no. You don't need to quit your job until you've been through and you've sorted out all the things you've already been over so far in this university. Is money coming in? Why would you quit your job? Is money coming in? Yes or no? No. Well then why would you quit your job? I showed you already how easy it is to get money flowing in. Get the site online, bang, 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 get the money in, even if none of the fulfillment is ready. So if money's not coming in, you don't need to quit your job. No, you need to do everything at the same time. You can get money rolling in first before you consider ducking out of a job, sitting around at home, and being broke. So that's a very important key thing about jobs, because I get asked that all the time. Next point, and this is a very important one. People, I'm going to make this very, very clear. People do not buy on price. You do not want to compete on price. For whatever company you're going to run, you do not want to compete on price. T2 competed on price, and okay, it lasted a while because of speed, but even nowadays, that would be much harder to do, and I'll tell you why. The people who compete on price are going to beat you. So if you go to Amazon.com and look at the phone cases for 89 cents for the case and delivery, and it's coming all the way from fucking China. How do they make money on that deal? I don't have a clue, but they managed to pull it off. There's too much Southeast Asian and Asian production now. Everyone's producing everything so cheap. There's no way you're gonna win on price. You need to sell on brand. Here in the West, living where we live, that's our advantage. We have the whole idea of branding and quality and reputation. These are the things you need to sell on. You do not want to sell on price. You don't want to price people out of the market, but when you're sitting there looking at your prices, you don't want to sit there and go, well, you know, I want to make it really affordable. I really have never experienced that. So you've joined my university. This is, I don't know if you joined at half price for $9.99 or you joined at the full price, whatever. I could have done this cheaper, but why would I do it cheaper? This is the value. The value here is everything I'm saying. This is how much it should cost. So you can't just be looking to sell things as cheap as possible. I see a lot of guys, especially the Twitter gurus, loads of them are selling ebooks for like $17 or $13. How are the fuck are you gonna get rich off $17 ebooks? You're not. So if that's the only price people will buy from you at, then that shows your brand has no strength, no reputation. Because if you had genuine strength and reputation, you could sell at a real price. So where your price point lies says a lot about who you are as a person. Do you want to be fucking Lambo? I'll write Lambo down because I like that word. Or do you want to be bullshit? This is where all the ebooks, the little ebooks are. This is where I am. Why can I sell more than them? Why can I sell for a much higher margin, a much higher price? Because I have a reputation and I provide a better quality product. So when you're looking for whatever you're gonna do, whatever you're gonna launch, when you start putting prices out there, if you put it up high and you're not selling, and you find yourself really reducing the price to try and get sales, that says a lot about who your reputation is. You need to do some reputation management. You need to build your reputation, build your credibility, build on the point that you're an expert in your field. And as you do that, your price will increase. That is the easiest way to make more money. Because there's only a certain amount of customers in the world. Let's say there's only 100 incels who are gonna buy a book about how to fuck today. There's only 100 of them. That's the only people on Twitter who are gonna buy a book about how to fuck today. So the easiest way to make more money is to charge this 100 people more money instead of trying to find more people. Especially with Twitter, because if you're selling on Twitter, Twitter following doesn't grow that fast. Your Twitter followers may not be that big, and if it even is, let's say minus 30,000, they don't grow very quickly. You get shadow banned, it takes a long time. So you only have a certain amount of potential customers, so you want each one to spend as much money as possible. This is the reality of the game. So if you're selling shit cheap, like a lot of these Twitter guys do, that's because they're cheap and they're lame. They're lame. Never sell on price. Also, you'll have more problems and more complaints from people who buy cheap things than people who buy expensive things. And the reason is because the people who buy expensive things are getting Lambo quality, like you're getting here, all the information I'm giving you. People who buy the cheap things, they're just buying it because it's so cheap. They don't believe in the person. They're just like, oh, what's the worst I can do? I'm only losing 13 bucks. But then they'll still feel pissed off when they realize it's garbage. So your number one goal, your number one aim in whatever business you do is to constantly be increasing prices. You need to be looking to constantly increase the price. And the way you do that is by constantly building on your reputation. That is how it goes. Even if you have to start off at lower price, you need to always increase the price. You should never get to a point where you've priced yourself out. People don't buy on price. People buy what they want. If people want something, they're gonna buy it. There's a whole bunch of expensive shit that people buy, trust me, because they want it. So you have to make sure that people want your product. Do not be one of those, well, I'm the cheapest on the market, guys. Because that never works well. It gives you a bunch of dickhead customers and it stops you making any kind of serious money. It's bullshit. Don't do it. Next, you need to learn to shut up and listen. This is a really important point for business. Super important, because it's something I see a lot of people make mistakes with. I'm gonna destroy my beautiful diagram here. Right. Most people, once they start a business, won't shut the fuck up about their business. I know so many people who are making money, and yeah, they're making money. But as soon as you start talking about money, all they talk about is how they make money, their business, how smart they are, ego investment, how great they are. That is not going to teach you anything. You only learn by listening. So whenever I'm around people who are making money, I don't talk about money. I mean, it's different if they're friends of mine, I've known them for a long time, we're interacting. But I mean, if I'm meeting people and they're businessmen and everyone's talking about how they're making money, I shut the fuck up and I listen. Because anyone who's making money, one way or another, knows something you don't know.